Hey, I just wanted to welcome, just wanted to touch base with you and throw something out here at you. Um, in the word it says that the kingdom of heaven suffers violence, and the violent take it by force. And I was always used to wonder what that really actually meant when we talk about violence and the kingdom of heaven, because you wouldn't necessarily think about violence when it comes to things of God and godly principles, but when you peel it back and start talking about that, the kingdom of heaven suffers violence, and the violent take it by force. Let's break that down a minute. So the kingdom of heaven is God's way of doing things. So basically, what God is saying is that, hey, if you do these things my way, you will experience good success. What are some things that you would do God's way? Forgive people, be generous, be kind, be compassionate, be empathetic, be bold in the good things of the Lord. Um, those are some things that would be the, God's way of doing things. Increase would be God's way of doing things. Addition, multiplication, those are God's way of doing things. Fruit, when you look at the plants, you got seed time and harvest time. Are you a giver? Are you do you like growth and progress? Those are things that are of God, right? And so how do you attain those things? Do you is it a passive kind of understanding of things? Like, no, it's a violent action. And so when I think about violent, I think about, sometimes we think about, you know violence when it comes to hurting somebody or grabbing somebody or fighting somebody or things like that. And quite frankly, on some ends of it, it is a fight. But the weapons of our warfare are not physical weapons. They're mighty weapons through God for the pulling down of strongholds, mental strongholds in our mind that says, "Hey, it's okay being a little bit above broke. It's okay just having just enough. It's my lot in life to be less than or just about like, no, 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 no." So we got to violently pull down those strongholds. And so when I think about violence, I think about action, right? You think about intentional action. You think about focus, laser focused action when it comes to violence. And these kingdom concepts that we're talking about, multiplication, the kingdom concepts of giving and forgiving, and walking in love, walking in boldness. And then as you do that, as you're doing these things, those other things like the increase in money, the increase in resources, the increase in access, the increase in material things, those are just byproducts. And those byproducts actually encourage other people to get on board with what you're doing. Because, let's face it, most people, they don't see spiritual things. They don't understand that sometimes a lot, they don't understand that sometimes, at all times, things start in the spiritual realm, the unseen. I mean, even, people understand that, like, even like that skyscraper behind me, right? As you're looking at that skyscraper, before that skyscraper was a skyscraper, that tall building was a thought in somebody's mind that turned into an architectural plan that turned into that building. And so the world understands these concepts. So, when we talk about God concepts, because we have some people that would understand that these are God things and it's not even an issue. But we have some people that have gone through some church hurt or some life hurt that say, hey, well, there is no God or whatever. All I'm saying is, like, look, things start in the unseen, and you can believe it or not. And if you don't, if you choose not to believe it, because that is your choice, you're doing it to your detriment. Because you have we're made in the image and likeness of God, which means all the creativity, all of the power, all of the greatness that you thought you had when we were little kids, that's still in you. But what we've done is, over time, because life has gave us some setbacks, because we do have an enemy, right? We do have an enemy. Now, this is not all skip to Maloo and roses in the park. This is work, y'all. We got to put in work. And, as your success coach, one of the things that we'd have to do is we have to be able to fight through adversity. And a lot of times, adversity is part of the process, which makes you stronger. But if you wilt to it, if you don't want to go through you're going to be doomed to repeat it. And you've seen people like that where they're just repeating the same thing over. It's just like this deranged version of Groundhog Day where you're doing the same, living the same day over and over and over again, the same week, the same month, year, the same year, over and over again with no progress. That's not the best for you. That's not where you need to be. So, and if you're in that rut, get out of it. How do I get out of the rut? It goes back to start with winning your day, start with your affirmations, and then audit your circle. You know, who are the 5 people that you hang around? And if you consider yourself, like on a scale of 1 to 10, if you consider yourself a 5, those people that you're hanging around on a day-to-day, if they're 3s and 4s, you're going to kind of skew to the lower side of that equation. But if you intentionally want to get better, be all that God has called you to be, and be your best version of you, right? The best version of you. If you consider yourself a 5 or a 6, you're going to have to start hanging around some 7s and 8s. Audit your circle, because who your circle is who you are every time. And I'm going to tell you what, here's the crazy part, is mediocrity is comfortable. Being just a little bit better than the average is comfortable. But here's the thing. You haven't been called to just be average or a little bit better than average. That's comfortable. Get out of your comfort zone, get out of that bed, get up, win your morning, right? We always talk about that. Win the morning. Set the morning. Set your day by setting your morning. And get out there and win the day. Because we have to be winners and people have to see us win. Because otherwise they're not going to want to serve the God that we serve. I wouldn't. If I see you out there losing, mediocre, half broke, busted, disgusted, complaining, whining, life is not fair, and blah, 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 and Donald Trump and the Republicans and the Democrats and the Independents and my dog died, and that sounded annoying. That sounded annoying to you, didn't it? It did to me too. But anyway, get out here and win that day. And then just do it day by day, and God will take care of the rest. Take that step toward Him. Be bold enough to believe that you are more than a conqueror. Be bold enough to believe that everything that you put your hands to do prospers. Be bold enough to believe that you can forgive that person who did you dirty, because your life, and do it as if your life depended on it. Because truthfully, especially your best version of your life, it does depend on it. All right, that's my coaching point for today. Win the day.